All right, it's Friday, January 31st. I bought some SPY puts here, the 610 puts at 683, and I scaled out at 825, and now they're asking 932. So they're moving up. Obviously, there's been a big reversal in the market. I discussed earlier in the day how I bought some calls here early on bar number 2, and I was able to take some nice gains in the morning. And then when I saw the market really come down strong below the opening bar low and just kind of pause in this area, to me, I just saw a failure unfolding, so I bought some puts here expecting it to kind of take out these pre-market lows down here at a minimum, knowing that we were also at that point going to be near the halfway point of the prior day, and maybe we're getting a big, up failure that comes back to the midpoint of that day, and by the end of the day comes to the low of that bar. And again, on the weekly chart, it looks like, depending what happens here in the last hour or so of trading, we might end up with a kind of a weak-looking green bar, which would be tricky in terms of expectations going into next week. Early in the morning, it looked like we might close strongly green, but now, there's been a reversal here, and that's based on probably the news of tariffs that might hit and a lot of the uncertainties, over the weekend about what that means. So, knowing that news was in play and seeing that immediate drop, I didn't buy the puts on this big red bar. I kind of watched it take out the low of the day and then wanted to watch it. And once it kind of paused in here, I bought some puts expecting some continuation, at least to these pre-market lows. And now we're obviously heading below that. So that's all you can do here today, structure-wise. I think there was a buy early, here. However you wanted to play it, you should. I took small gains, and I was able to then, exit the rest of the position once I saw it kind of on the second push up kind of start to fail. So there's your morning trade to the upside. And then, if you wanted to be aggressive watching this price action, the only thing to consider was, possibly seeing if this momentum would pick up, knowing the news was negative, knowing you're coming to the end of the week. But more importantly, breaking through the first bar low with kind of pre-market low targets down here, and a big failure bar unfolding coming back through the open. So anyway, just thought I'd highlight that. We're going to see how this bar closes here. If we close strongly red, then you're kind of expecting, number one, we might get down to these lows by the end of the day. If not, if you end up with this 2-up failure bar, you kind of expect to hold the midpoint of this bar and then start lower into next week. And we're going to see what that means in terms of, can you get a 2-down week developing into next week, which might start heading lower. But it still looks somewhat green and positive. I think it's more of a shakeout and a little nervousness over the weekend. So, I could see it maybe trying to test a little lower, but not really, getting below last week's low and eventually reversing to the upside. But whatever it is, it's choppy now. That's kind of what seems to be unfolding, unless there's a dramatic, change back to the upside before the end of the day here, which is certainly possible in the last hour. But anyway, for now, I just see a tricky environment that's now choppy, where, we're not ready to break out to the upside, and there was pretty strong buying down here. So we will see what happens, going into next week. But for now, it seems like there's a little bit of selling, that might, I want to see if it kind of concludes the session with a strong sell-off to these lows, given the uncertainty of some of the economic news going into the weekend.